is Friday.
It is Friday.
It's one of those. There's some movie. Was it Murder in the First with Kevin Bacon, where it's like he's doing his multiplication tables just to kind of keep his sanity, and I feel like I'm doing that, asking what day it is. Like, what day is it? Okay, good. I can be human again. So kind of going through, we're raiding through our pantry and fridge. And I don't think, have we done a rice dish this week, Wendy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We did the tagine like a million
years ago. Yeah, we did kind of like a goof on red beans and rice a little while ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
But one that we definitely haven't done, as I'm checking my pan temperature, is we haven't done risotto.
Risotto!
It was one of the first things that, back when I was doing the home cook thing and even was teaching myself, that was one of the first things that I really wanted to learn how to make and do well. And oddly enough, I've not made it in a long, long time. But the technique is great. It's pretty simple, something that I really love. And we had some veggies in the fridge, so this is a good way to kind of offload some of that. So we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, Krista Miller is back, and she made a risotto recently.
Awesome.
Well, maybe that was like part of our strategery, doing some risotto.
Strategery, huh?
Oh, Kit Lewis is on.
Hey, Kit.
Really
enjoyed the cocktail video.
That was super fun. Kit is doing Instagram Live cocktail videos, so be sure to check him out at KITLEWIS, and he'll let you know what he's making up next.
Yes, we had a lot of fun doing sangria the other day, and I ended up really wanting a daiquiri at the end of it, and by the end of it yesterday, I made myself a daiquiri, so following my dreams.
That's right.
So this is just some olive oil, and we had shallots that I had picked up when there were no onions in the store, and like, all right, I'll get around to using them, and that was like 2 weeks ago, maybe longer, and now I've just gotten around to using them. If you just have an onion, half an onion, we're making enough really just for 2 people, because this is one of those things that unless you plan on making risotto cakes or arancini or something like that later on, it doesn't really... you know what, if you like the flavor, screw what I was about to say. It doesn't really heat well, but in times like this, everything will reheat well. It's fine. So just looking to get a little bit of color. Not even color, just kind of sweat some translucence on this. I'm not looking for color.
No color. Just sweating it.
I know.
Just get it soft, or...
Yeah, just soft before, because the important thing is, for this risotto is, it's not just a dish, it's a cooking method. You've got 2 kind of primary means of cooking rice. You have what's called the pilaf method, which is where you toast the grains, you add liquid, you bring it up to a boil, you cover it, and then once it's soft, you actually take it off the heat and kind of let it steam. And then you have risotto, where our goal is to draw the starch out of the rice.
Got some people in the house, Josh Hinton and
Josh.
Tracy Aviles, and we've got Brad Miz. It said he's going to be doing risotto soon.
Nice. I got a couple of professionals on here, so
That's
better
right.
make sure I step up here with Josh and Brad on.
Yeah, and Krista says that corn risotto makes the best risotto cakes.
Yes, it's great to make leftovers. I'm a huge fan of risotto cakes, risotto balls, anything like that. Just great street food, great, just crispy rice in general, or rice plus crispy texture is a win in my book.
I like the sweet rice they have sometimes at dim sum, where you can get is it sticky rice? Sticky rice.
Sticky rice is what they do at dim sum. Usually that's not you don't see as much crispy texture unless you're going for like bibimbap, which is a totally different cuisine and country to do that. But no, usually we're the ones, the Europeans, the Americans, we're the ones where crispy is our texture. Typically somewhere in the East you have the soft or gelatinous is more valued. So I got some sweat on the onions here. And so the next step is we're going to add our rice. We are using what we had in our pantry because once upon a time when I did make this a good bit, we used Carnaroli. There's another rice out there called Violone Nano, which makes an excellent risotto, but probably most common what you find in the supermarkets is Arborio. It's a short fat grain rice. But really, any rice will work if you're in a pinch. It's more about the method than it is the rice. The short grain rices, the fatter ones, have more of that starchiness to where when you stir it does give off that creamy texture. But I've seen people make this out of potatoes or sweet potatoes. I've seen people make it out of ditalini pasta before. Out of farro, out of barley. So like I said, it's all about the method.
So Josh Hinton says, I would love to watch, but the internet on the ship will not load the video. Keep up the great work, chef.
Oh, thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. Long time no see for sure.
Okay, Angela Hansberger's in the house.
Hey, Angela.
And Melanie Bozeman.
And Melanie. Hope things are going well for everybody. So what I'm looking to do right here is I'm looking to turn, when the rice goes in, it's kind of almost translucent. We're looking to toast the grains to get them separate to where they're all going to be, they're turning to opaque. Any of the gentle browning that's going on here is the shallots, and I'm fine with that. What we're not looking to do is we're not looking to brown or darken the rice itself. But this will take a couple of minutes, but what we're really looking for is that kind of almost a nutty aroma to come off of that. And what this is going to do is this is going to ensure that your rice doesn't clump up when we're drawing the starch out of it, and that we can get the flavor and the texture of those distinct grains of rice. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt in here too. So we're also going to kind of multitask while that's toasting. We've got some yellow crookneck squash that we were able to find at the store. Veggies have been pretty bountiful these days. So I've got a clove of garlic. I'm not going to add any garlic to the risotto itself, but I'm just looking to smash one whole clove. I've got a pan that I need to, I'll turn the heat up on it momentarily, but it's about medium-low heat. I'm going to add a pretty good amount of oil to it.
Just looking at ingredients. There's that poor little clove you just got smooshed.
That's right. And a sprig of thyme. And I'm just going to put it into the oil and let it gently cook for a little while at the same time while we're doing our rice. Because I don't want to find big pieces of garlic, but we are going to flavor the squash and then fish it out at the end before the squash goes into the risotto. Got
Lee and Shannon from DC watching.
Hello, everybody.
Shannon, look forward to seeing you a little bit later today for some drinks.
That's right. Is anybody else doing? I'm drinking so much more than normal.
We're drinking a lot. We were drinking a lot last night. We enjoyed Yacht Rock. Nick Nespajani doing Yacht Rock Thursdays on Facebook. That was super fun.
Absolutely.
We drank tons of rosé.
And more cocktails. So let's. We've got our rice toasted before I grab the stock. Should have set this on the board to remind myself. I'm gonna add a little bit of white wine.
This is the wine you picked out specifically to cook with.
Yeah, just because I didn't want to drink our really, really good stuff. So this is a Sauvignon Blanc. You want to use a dry wine. If you had, dry Pinot Grigio or dry Chardonnay, anything like that's fine. But I'm looking to cook this until it absorbs completely. What this is going to do is going to add acidity to the rice.
Lee says she's drinking a lot less, but needs to rethink her strategy.
I don't know if I'd advocate our strategy. It's just kind of what we're doing.
That's true. See, I actually like to just say that I'm supporting local businesses by keeping our wine shops, fully funded.
I'm supporting 2 bottles worth of local businesses a night.
Hey, it's tough times. That's what keeps you in the house. That's right.
Stay in the house.
Yes, Shannon, it is the Starborough Sauv Blanc. Picked that up at Publix.
Yeah, so that was just the, I went early in the morning, which is kind of after the seniors hour, which is a good time to go, but wasn't lingering over that decision. Okay. So I've got some hot chicken broth here because we're omnivorous. If you wanted to make a mushroom risotto, you could make a mushroom broth. Or use that. You could use vegetable if you want. You could use water if you wanted.
So Kit says he always has trouble balancing how much broth to add to the rice while stirring.
So that's a great question. So I always err on the side of not adding enough and then adding more later. I think as a starting measurement, typically you may want to go with about 4 parts liquid to 1 part rice, and then we're going to kind of cook it. It's almost a
What heat level do you have on it right now as you're stirring?
That's about medium to medium-low. The creaminess kind of comes out of not causing all the starch in the rice to just explode and kind of release that payload at once. It's about coaxing it out through agitation, waiting till the liquid has almost absorbed into the rice, as we kind of see it has now. All right.
Yep.
And then going in with another ladle just to kind of cover the shoulders of the rice.
I didn't know rice had shoulders.
It does today.
Okay. So add less than you think that you would need because it's easier to add more than to take it out.
Right. And then also, kind of the benefit of it, of going in while it's hot, is you're not waiting for it to heat up and absorb into it.
Right.
So your rice you're going to run less of a risk of your rice overcooking.
Well, that's good. Because maybe people just add the cold broth and it's just not as effective?
Not usually, no, because it's absorbing as it's, as it's kind of coming up to temperature. So you just got inconsistent cooking with it that way.
Cool. For everybody watching, we're making risotto today.
Yeah.
We got some gorgeous squash that we've been making use of. Just those kind where you go to the grocery store. I always feel compelled to pick up a 3-pack of the zucchini and the squash because I just love it so much.
And, kind of in this climate, it's one you're pretty much guaranteed that nobody's coughed on.
That's true.
So I feel a little bit safer about,
That's true. We got Tina Stanley is watching. And I think I said Melanie Bozeman. And let's see, Temple, who is a really good friend and officiated the wedding of Joe and Shannon. She's watching as well.
Great to have everybody. So it's absorbing in. I'm kind of trying to keep an eye on the garlic back here, just looking to make sure that it gets gently golden, and I'm going to kind of turn the heat up a little bit to where it will kind of start to crisp up and heat my pan because I want to have a little bit higher heat when I add the squash.
Okay, so Kit wants to know, what are your favorite risotto flavors, peas or no?
When it's I do like peas in my risotto. I like one that. And I used to kick myself when I would put it on my menus, like especially during the Common Quarter days, because it takes a good bit of finesse. And it's one of those to where unless you're really equipped to doing a risotto in your restaurant and have the setup for it, i.e. not a 6-burner range like we were working with, it can be very difficult to do and get the details right. And I love getting the details right. So when kind of around this time when spring would hit, I would love to add fresh peas and then maybe like a pea puree at the end to fortify that. I kind of like the first one that I fell in love with, which was mushrooms.
I love mushroom risotto.
It's kind of hard to get me to say no. Anything with shellfish goes over really well.
That's true. I actually, the mushroom risotto at, what was that? What was the place that it's in the Highlands that's really good? Sorry, I'm totally blanking on. No, it's Inman Park. It's the one that we go to with Lauren all the time. Soto with the risotto Zoto.
See, we got a built-in mnemonic.
That's right. That's right. I can't. I don't even know where I am today practically. So it's like days are just blending together.
It's wine o'clock.
It is wine o'clock. And actually today is a holiday for Warner Brothers employees, so that's a new holiday for us. So I actually don't have to work today.
So, Wendy, if you want to kind of get in
let's
here,
get in.
see how we've almost all the way absorbed. I think we're going to add another ladle.
Why are we adding another ladle? Like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing that it needs more?
That the rice isn't done.
Okay.
That's the main part, is that the rice is not done. What we are looking for is, it's starting to kind of soften and break down. It's not, when you add your next liquid, it should almost look like it's becoming creamy in and of itself.
Very cool.
And we're not there yet.
We're not there. They're too set up at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to break down a little bit more.
This is going to take about total, depending on the altitude you're at, your heat level, your cooking equipment, can take anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes.
Lisa Charlton is back. She said the mushrooms in this week's Misfit box were amazing. I thought we were getting a Misfit box this week, but I guess not.
I thought we were too.
I'll have to check on that.
Lisa, what kind of mushrooms did you have in there?
Was it like a nice mixture, or was it one specific type of mushroom?
I'm curious to see if are they going with cultivated, or are they somebody have a good connection to get some wild mushrooms? Because springtime, we always springtime is when it's the season that chefs in restaurants really crave, because we've been cooking braised dishes and squash and beets and all that stuff for months and months, because usually a fall menu will last through the winter, and then when that cold snap goes away, it starts to warm up a little bit, and you've got basically everything green. When morel mushrooms, when peas, with asparagus, with all kinds of great stuff. Meyer lemons.
Spring is like one of the favorite times for chefs to be making stuff.
It's when our food cost just goes through the roof. Because all that stuff that we love, that we're excited to start cooking with again, has very short seasons and is crazy expensive.
I've seen a lot of people who got the Fresh Harvest Georgia this week, got fiddlehead ferns. What would you do with something like that?
Throw them away.
Oh, no. Angela will not be happy to hear that.
No, I'm kidding. Fiddleheads are not my favorite. I think they're kind of over it. You have to cook them twice because there's a histamine in there that you have to blanch them first before you do anything else with them. So something I would do would be I would blanch them, and then if I was going to cook them for the second time, maybe just something simple like garlic butter. Kind of cook them in, or if you want to take some dried chilies, maybe some little bit of pop, like an arbol chili, and kind of infuse that into the garlic butter, that would be pretty good.
That sounds good. We got Ben Heisler in the house.
Hey, Ben.
And Tom Flowers.
Tom, the king of the memes, or at least the
That's right.
sharing of said memes.
Any good memes?
It's a good thing to be known for, I suppose.
I think my favorite one was Brian Kemp saying that he just figured, he's like, I just found out yesterday that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
Our leader's a moron. So our pan is the garlic is very fragrant. Ooh. So I'm going to kind of just fish it out now, so as not to see it. And then I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit more because I want to hear some good sizzle without infusing that burned garlic flavor in there. Mm. So that'll take just a couple of minutes as we continue to stir our rice. So this would be a good time. You know, this weekend, I know a lot of people have been doing, restaurants have been doing Easter to-go kits. Think about supporting restaurants that you really like. Every little bit helps right now. Folks are kind of fighting for their own survival and changing up plans and doing dishes that they may not have ever envisioned themselves doing, but always great to share the love around. We're trying to do that as best we can while staying indoors as best we can.
Yep, and Lazy Betty, which is a fine dining restaurant here in Atlanta, is going to start some to-go starting next Tuesday, I believe. So,
yeah, we had great experiences there and hope to be able to go back again.
Well, Lisa said that her shipment included shiitake mushrooms.
Okay. I love shiitakes. I think you get a lot of just bang for your buck flavor out of a shiitake. It's very, very intense for what you get.
What all would you cook with shiitakes? Would risotto be good with shiitake?
Yeah, risotto would be great with shiitakes, absolutely. All right, so our liquid has almost absorbed. If you want to kind of take a look, we're starting to get to that point where it's getting, it's running a little starchy here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's getting thicker.
We are on our way. We are not there yet. I can just tell by touching the rice that that's not anywhere close to being done. Plus, still within my ratio of 4-to-1 liquid to rice, so we're just going to keep going.
Looks like oatmeal.
I've actually done this with oatmeal before.
Really?
Yeah, the cooking method in a savory kind of dish. We were doing a Scotch dinner at Common Quarter one time, and wanted to do all right, let's have the food also kind of reflect that of Scotland. So we had, I'm trying to remember if I had lamb or goat, but then did an oat risotto.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah. Got Polly Patrick in the house.
Hey, Polly.
And John Barkell back for more.
Hey, John. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, John. So that was the squash. It went right into the pan, into the hot pan.
In the hot pan.
Yeah, just like, oh, see, it's over there. Oh, get some flip action going on.
Yeah, just to get everything, mix up the seasoning. You could stir, you don't have to toss. It's kind of a habit when you're multitasking.
That's right. Got 2 pots going.
That's right. Yeah, this is a rarity for us. Usually we don't do this too. And if you want to, you don't have to do that in a saute pan. If you want to just roast it in the oven, that's cool too. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a break from just having you stand and watch me stir this and talk. So
a lot of stirring.
Now there's something else to go with. Also, the benefit is I do want that direct heat, because if I can get some color on that and still maintain some textural integrity out of that, that is kind of what I'm looking for.
So if you were to put asparagus, because we know asparagus has been running around lately, mm-hmm. How would you prepare the asparagus? Would you roast it before putting in the risotto?
Just kind of, to do a risotto? Yeah, you could roast it, you could blanch it, you could grill it, you could just sear it really quick. I think we did one that was ended up looking really good for the Southern Kitchen days. We were trying to do as much cast iron stuff as possible, and so peeling the asparagus and then sticking it directly into a cast iron skillet that was pretty smoking hot worked really well.
Cool. Get that flavor.
Yeah.
So basically you toss in whatever you're adding to the risotto after the risotto's done, kind of like an oatmeal.
Yeah, because at least this is just from my experience, that unless it's something that's pretty small, like if I was going to do, if I wanted to add pancetta or if I wanted to add some kind of sausage, I might start early and let the flavor, that fat, kind of permeate through. But I found that if I've added a whole bunch of stuff to this, let's say I was making a mushroom risotto. If I had some quartered or chopped up cultivated mushrooms and I wanted to put those in, I would want to cook those separately, because the mushrooms, it's going to kind of interfere with the texture of the rice, and that's really the star. At least kind of some of the ways that I learned it and that I've always tried to kind of adhere to is that, when you're doing Italian food, a lot of times the rice is the star, the pasta is the star, everything else is kind of the condiment. And
what if it was like seafood though? Like, if you're doing like a seafood risotto, like would you do the seafood separate too and then add it to the rice?
So yeah, I would actually. If it was something like mussels or clams, I would definitely want to kind of cook those and maybe add some of the liquid that they would give off, the liquor, into that. If it was something like shrimp, I might toast the shells and remove those, or use a seafood stock or something like that. You gotta show you got good color on our squash right now.
Yum, yum, yum.
I'll let it cook for just a little while longer. Don't want it to turn to mush, or as my good buddy Dean kind of imparted into my vocabulary, cooked to death. So shout out to Dean if you're out there.
Nobody wants that.
No, that's right.
Nobody wants dead food. So what are you guys drinking? Obviously it's Friday, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. What are you guys making at home? Let us know. Obviously, Kit just inspired us to make daiquiris since he was doing sangria, and then Krista brought up daiquiris. We were starting doing daiquiris and wine. And what you drinking?
Give us some ideas.
That's right. We do have a little bit of stuff going on, so we got some options.
I love that we can actually see daylight on here a little bit now.
That's right. I know. Case, so. I know. It used to be so crowded. There was like stuff's gonna fall off. We're making a dent in that.
That's right. So yeah, so we can see now we're starting to absorb even just a little bit more. Ooh, still looking creamy. I'm going to give it just a little taste right now, just to kind of see how far along I'm looking to go here.
What's the verdict? Oh, Dean, he must have known you were talking about him. Dean's on.
That's right. I'm dropping knowledge that I learned from the great Dean Dupuy. So that is still somewhat crunchy. We're looking for a finished texture of al dente on this, and in the rice world, you want a little bit of toothsomeness to it, but it shouldn't taste raw or crumbly or bitty or anything like that. It should have a little bit of resistance to it, more so than if you were to eat just rice kind of cooked, steamed rice or rice peel off or anything like that. So squash is done. Take that off the heat. Back to the rice. So yeah, so we were mentioning Yacht Rock the other day. Got to give a shout out to my friend Nick Nespajani, they are re-releasing their Live in Boston album. They also have one that was on the Billboard charts for a little while. It would be great if anybody wants some good original music to listen to. Their album Hot Dads and Tight Jeans. And just as a personal note, one of my favorites was Nick had a side project called Indianapolis Jones. I know all that stuff. We were able to download it off of iTunes. I think it's on Spotify too. But there's a song called Miracle Mile that would have been, and hopefully still may be, our theme song for our show that we have.
Go here, eat this.
Go here, eat this.
It will happen.
Although right now the idea of traveling to various cities to go eat is certainly off the table.
Well, live action productions are a little bit on hold right now.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to do it here. We'll stay here, eat this.
Stay here, eat this. That's right.
That's right. Brad says he's been making fresh whiskey sours with the egg white and all. And, of course, supporting my local breweries.
Awesome.
Love that.
Sounds delicious.
I think Monday night is rolling out some sours. Like, they're getting some fruit stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like watermelon, or is it blackberry sour or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And then you've got the spring Fauci. Who was that again? It was Wild Heaven, I think, just doing a spring Fauci beer inspired by Mr. Dr. Fauci.
I am a huge fan of, you mentioned sours. I love pairing sour beers with really, really spicy food. So I think at some point we need to check if Tasty China is still operational and delivering or whatnot, because we've not taken advantage enough of the fact that Tasty China is close enough to our house to deliver.
That's right. And so you'd pair the eggplant with a sour?
Yeah, or the dry fried eggplant, the cumin lamb, the green beans. Yeah, we were on a masterpiece kick for a little while too.
That's also, right. Very good.
A very opposite direction, but also very, very good.
Yeah, it's a drive for us, but it's worth it. We don't get to go as often as we'd like.
I think the burner has decided that it doesn't want to play anymore.
Like, meaning it's not working?
It heard me now. Like, we pay the bills.
It's the little burner that could.
That's right.
Tracy says that a mimosa sounds really good right now.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We can only do half of that. I don't think we have any orange juice.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'd have to brave the zombies. The Ronas. We'd have to brave the Ronas.
Speaking of which, I do think we have all the means to make a corpse survivor, though.
Oh, there you go. Just in time for Easter.
I'm going to save that one for Easter. That's right.
What's in a corpse survivor?
So let's see. Corpse survivor is gin, Lillet, an orange liqueur, usually has an absinthe rinse, and fresh lemon.
Oh, we have absinthe?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, very nice. Kit, you got free idea. You could do an Easter corpse survival.
All right, now we're starting to kind of.
I was gonna say
get back in the game here. I told you this is going to be 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Hola, Jaime.
Oh yes, always good to see my friend Jaime. We miss you, Poppy.
All right. So what are we looking at here?
So the rice is now starting to absorb back in, or the liquid is absorbing back into the rice. It's still looking creamy, but it's probably going to take about another ladle. Like I said, I don't want to overcook this. Nothing makes me fewer things make me unhappy, and a lot of things make me unhappy in restaurants. I'm a grumpy, curmudgeonly bastard. But, if I see risotto mounded up, almost forced into a shape, in a bowl or plate, or in a bowl somewhere, and things stacked on top of it, as you can see in front of us, we have plates. I will always attempt to serve risotto in a plate or a shallow bowl, just because it kind of, you want to see that flow and not necessarily it piling up.
Shannon says aviation and Sazerac should be on this weekend's menu.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of both. I don't know if we have any rye to do a Sazerac. Definitely can do an aviation, though.
Britt Peterson says, speaking of absinthe, made myself a Sazerac yesterday.
Right on.
And Jennifer Miller wants to know, what is your favorite gin?
My favorite, Miller's is a really good one, oddly enough. I'm not terribly, I know a lot of people kind of have their brands. I mean, it just depends on the drink. I'll go from something that's a little more citrus forward or something that's a little more botanical, just whatever lends itself to the cocktail.
Well, Cousin Grace is in the house.
Hey, Grace.
We're making risotto with squash.
Yeah, just from the last time I tasted it, too. Just need a little bit more salt.
So if we were to use, if that broth is a veggie broth, so this is a veggie-friendly dish.
100%.
Okay.
And, these parts that I'm going to add at the end, we've got butter and Parmesan cheese to add once the rice is al dente. But if you wanted to take that a vegan direction, you could leave all that out and just finish it with a really good olive oil.
Mary Britton, you must have heard that we were talking about Soto Soto earlier, one of her favorite restaurants. And also Yale is in the house.
What's up, Yale? Glad to have everybody.
So risotto is really not that hard to make. It's not complicated, but it's just a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort. So Yale would remember this now that he's on. One of the last times I made it at home, and it's been a long time. I guess this would be 15 years because, you attest, I haven't made this at home much, right?
Nope.
If at all. Because I would do it in the restaurants all the time. But I remember making this in the dark in the KA house on a butane burner in the middle of Hurricane Katrina.
Very nice. What kind of risotto was it?
That I don't remember. What I do remember was that the butane stopped. We ran out of butane, and so it was very, very, very al dente. I've heard some people even pronounce the term al dente. That is not al dente. That is, I guess, in the style of the Tuscan poet.
Ah, there you go.
It's to Dante. All respects to Mr. Alighieri.
That's right. So what else did you make in the KA house? Like, what culinary delights did you serve?
The Thai curry that lit both of us up. Where I really learned the original strength of Thai kitchen red curry paste. A lot of pasta. A lot of when we were too inebriated to drive to Whataburger, we'd kind of try and do makeshift taquitos out of a little shitty toaster oven. So now you can Wendy, if you want to kind of get in here a little bit.
I'm getting in
so you can start to see where the rice is plumping up a little bit. Now that's a good indicator that it's
like doubling.
Yeah, so that it's really starting to absorb. But we're still pretty loose here. So I'm going to give it another taste.
Okay.
Just to kind of see, do I need to add another ladle, or do I kind of want to let this go as it is?
Yale mentioned paella.
That's right. We did a pretty big Spanish meal there, which was very nice one summer.
I love paella.
On a 2-burner hot plate.
I think Cooks and Soldiers is doing a paella right now on their to-go menu.
Yeah, I think so too.
They're doing a great job. The Castellucci's, yeah, they are kicking butt.
Especially since they were kind of one of the first sacrificial lambs to hear that the alcohol board is actually cracking down on people serving cocktails to go.
That's horrible.
Which is, a great use of bureaucratic resources.
No.
SMH. So I'm going to add about a half a ladle here. See, I got pretty close on the ratio here because I like this pretty loose. And our rice had that it was definitely al dente, but it didn't leave any kind of crumbly, like dry rice residue. It's if you're not used to al dente rice for risotto, it can be a little bit of an adjustment, but I promise you it's worth it. And if it's not, and you feel like, hey, this isn't my thing, just cook it longer. So I'm going to stir this just a little while longer.
Lots of stirring. Actually, there's lots of stirring.
Lots of stirring. And, you'll have people that'll tell you, only stir it occasionally, or I've seen people do it out of a pressure cooker. To me, this is the most traditional method, and it works, and so I don't see a huge reason to mess with that.
I do a lot of stirring when I make lemon curd because it's not complicated. It's just you want to make sure that it doesn't burn.
Right.
So you have to just constantly be stirring it.
Right, and so that's exactly the same reason why I keep stirring. Number one, to release the starches, but number two, because we want to get it to where it absorbs to almost dry. You want to make sure that the rice doesn't scorch. So we're still pretty loose in here, but I have turned off the heat. I'm going to add in some butter.
Butter.
And Parmesan. This is pecorino cheese, because that's what we had. But any kind of dry, salty aged cheese is good. And you want the butter to be cold because it's going to have that emulsifying property to it.
So definitely not room temperature, cold butter.
Cold butter. And now, Wendy, if you want to kind of get in here a little bit, this is, now you can see where it went from being very loose and liquidy to very, very creamy. And that it will flow off the end of the spoon as I turn it. That is a good texture for risotto. So we're about ready to finish this up.
Awesome. Very exciting. Well, you guys know what we're having for lunch.
That's right. So I'm going to take our squash here. Now I'm going to add it in. I may not add all of this. We may save it for something else. We were talking about doing ratatouille or something later on. But, again, the rice needs to be the main attraction here. So don't want to make this overkill, but that looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
A
little bit more?
I think we can take it all.
Okay. Delicious.
All right.
I love squash.
Beautiful. And this is something that you always you want to serve it instantly because it will. The longer it sits, the more it'll start to kind of lock up on you. I mean, even now, it's still, because that rice is still absorbing things. Or absorbing its liquid, not things.
So eat immediately.
Yeah.
If you're going to make it and eat it right then.
Yeah, and again, this is still kind of flowing off the end of my spoon. It's not, clumpy or anything like that. So you could finish it in any means that you want to. You could add fresh herbs if you wanted. We had some grape tomatoes that were kind of bought
About
on
to
them.
go.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you just buy it because we see it, it looks good, and we'll use them in things, and this becomes what we're going to use it in. And for those of you who were kind enough to watch our sauce video, we made salsa verde yesterday for our roasted chicken. Had a little bit left over. If you have any kind of fresh herbs, parsley, basil, mint, or nothing, you could just leave it as is and it would be good. But in this case, we have our salsa verde. Now I'm becoming one of those obnoxious. I've become the meme that was.
And the Parmesan's already in there.
Parmesan's already in there.
So we don't need to add it. Or we could add more if we wanted to.
You could add more if you wanted to. There is more that we can grate over the top. But thank you guys for watching. Happy Friday again. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. I think we may do some videos here.
Yeah.
This weekend, maybe some brunchy things. I'm craving chilaquiles, so that may have to happen. I think we may also do a bibimbap at some point. So waiting on the gochujang to come in through the mail. But anyway, that's it for us. We're going to have lunch now. Thank y'all for watching. Stay safe. Stay indoors. Wash your hands. See you guys.